one, Gina. Gotta say, you really turned it around.
She's throwing us a
Appreciate you.
bone here.
Yeah, like we're using your former clout from 40 years ago to, attain big goals in this space, and we appreciate you for that. Thank you for having a ready, seat. Saddle up, you know what I'm saying?
All right, boys. With that Dynavac just kicking me right in the chest, I think it's a good time for us to get this shindig started. What you say?
Yeah, I'm down to drop it.
I'm down 100%.
Like Snoop Dogg, let's drop it like it's hot in 3, 2, 1.
Ladies and gentlemen, I introduce you to Shedtime. What is Shedtime, you ask? Well, it's code for the consumption of cannabis, but it's much more than that. Shedtime's a state of mind. It's art, it's music, it's cryptocurrency, technology, it's food, it's vaping. It can be whatever you want it to be, as long as you're not letting the bastards get you down, not being a dick, and making it fun. When you're in the shed, it's whatever your mind allows you to create. So now let's get to the Shedtime podcast.
Welcome back, friends, Shedheads, and brand new listeners alike. It is our esteemed pleasure to host you today as we get into another fine episode of the Shedtime podcast. And I know last week I was like, wow, man, I feel like weirdly unprepared. And today I am feeling weirdly prepared. I fell down a rabbit hole this week that I thought was so crazy. I needed to bring it up on the show. Have you guys ever heard of the Lake City Quiet Pills mystery?
Can't say that I have there, Sean.
No.
Yeah, right. What a
No,
crazy
definitely
name. So the Lake City Quiet Pills mystery centers around Reddit. And we all know Reddit is just a fantastic, weird rabbit hole in and of itself. But basically, this whole thing made waves back in like 2009. And it all centers around a user on Reddit named Religion of Peace and an image hosting site that he used called LakeCityQuietPills.com. So basically, this dude was seemingly innocuous. Like he had this little image hosting site called That Old Guy's Image Host that was at LakeCityQuietPills.com, and people would use it to post dumb photos and a lot of pornography, basically. And it just was what it was. Now, the real interesting part comes when you start to look into the old man himself, Religion of Peace, a gentleman known as Milo. So Milo claimed to be a military veteran and was regularly commenting on various topics throughout Reddit. As he would continue to, talk more and more in these different groups, he would talk about violence and politics and rallying against liberal news and socialism. He promoted a variety of content from his site, most of which was prejudicial and offensive. Matter of fact, the threat intelligence platform found that the Lake City Quiet Pills domain was registered in June 2008 and anonymously in the US, among other data points. What transpires through some of Milo's talking on Reddit indicates to people that he is in his late 70s somewhere. So he's a very old man. He's definitely got an intimate knowledge of the military and how things work, and military contracting, that sort of thing. And he's a very grumpy old man. He rails against people all the time about spamming and all sorts of other crazy stuff. So now in late July of 2009, Milo stops posting on Reddit, and a new poster with the handle 2-6 logs in a day after Milo's last post. And 2-6 claims to be that Milo's hosting provider, so the guy who actually owned the LakeCityQuietPills.com domain. He basically goes on to explain in a post on the r/Reddit subreddit that Milo has died that he didn't have much. He gave like the cat to the neighbor and all of these sort of things, and that Milo was just this angry old man who he was friends with that helped him get a job when he first got out of the military, and they stayed in touch. So the post led people to start really digging into who this 2-6 character was, because I mean, if anybody knows anything about Reddit, it's like everyone's super suspicious, right? Like, no, everyone's a skeptic on Reddit, and rightfully so. I mean, we all understand how the internet works. So a handful of Reddit internet sleuths start really digging into who this 2-6 character is, and they find a username, Angel26, whose email often appeared in the Lake City Quiet Pills website. And in fact, his email on a FARC.com forum actually was Angel26 at LakeCityQuietPills.com. But one of the things that really made things interesting about whoever Angel26 was and his relationship to the Lake City Quiet Pills thing is that he had a tagline in that FARC forum and all of his posts. And the tagline was dispensing Lake City Quiet Pills to lousy bastards in need of permanent rest since 1968. So now here's where this tagline gets interesting. Lake City, Iowa is a pretty indescript town. But there's one really interesting thing going on over there. And it's a huge ammunition factory. So what are Lake City Quiet Pills? They're bullets.
Bullets. Okay.
And this gentleman has been, as his tagline says, dispensing Lake City Quiet Pills to lousy bastards in need of permanent rest since 1968. So this person's been killing people since 1968, according to that tagline. Now,
Dang,
LakeCityQuietPills.com is more than just an image hosting site now, right? Like now it's weird.
Yeah, no, that would definitely like qualify as weird to me for sure.
Right? So this guy, there, depending on whose like information you read up on and like what little like mini documentaries people have done, this guy may be another person. This guy may in fact be the Religion of Peace poster himself. It really depends on whose opinion and their take on the evidence and how it lines up for them. So investigations led to a poster named Angel, assumed to be Angel26, looking for groups of 8 to 10 people who were fluent in specific languages to travel to different countries and deliver packages. On the surface, this could have ties to illegal activities, and some believe that the ad was related to a specific assassination. Basically, these investigators, what they were doing was they started digging into the source code of the Lake City Quiet Pills website. And what they were finding in the source code were basically job postings. And it would say things like wanted 4 to 6 men, fluent in Spanish. And it would go on to have a couple little more details. And then it would have like another one that would be like wanted, for Asian descent, must be fluent in Chinese. And so it got people starting to suspect that maybe what these people are doing is maybe this is like some secretive backdoor military contractor thing, right? Like maybe these are like military contractors and they're discussing jobs through the source code of a otherwise innocuous website. So that's weird in and of itself. And they start seeing that the more they watch this source code, new messages are popping up. And so it goes on and you end up with a post talking about how Milo's will passes through probate. And it turns out he was loaded. And there's going to be payments doled out to anybody who went out on a job between I think it was 2005 and 2009. So adding fuel to that fire. There was another post in there in January 2010 talking about how they were going to throw a party in honor of Milo. And in the party details, this also starts to throw some red flags for people. In the party details, it talks about how they're going to have hotel rooms for anybody who's coming in, that they only need to give their travel name because the organization's paying for everything. They have a $500 limit for bar tab and like a couple other details like that. They say that the party time is at this specific time. And then we get to the date of the party. That same day of the party, there was an assassination of a leader of Hamas that took place in Dubai. And what was seen was a team of roughly 14 to 15 people who just seemed slightly suspiciously out of place. And you see how they just seem to all randomly start to convene in different places. They all go to this man's room after he leaves, break in, and then kill the man inside his room when he returns. And then leave the hotel for their victim to be found by hotel staff later on.
Fuck.
Yeah, dude, right? So as this information starting to come out, there's a whole Reddit now about Lake City Quiet Pills. People are starting to discuss it. Next thing you know, the source code gets encrypted. So now it's all completely indecipherable unless you can figure out what the encryption key is in order to decrypt what's been written in this source code suddenly. And after people successfully code break some of those messages, all of a sudden the Lake City Quiet Pills website disappears. It's a completely technically unsolved mystery. People have argued back and forth whether or not that hit on the date of Milo's party was in fact the people that they were reading about on LakeCityQuietPills.com. But it's fucking crazy.
But it's fucking possible.
It 100% is
like
possible.
that. I think that's why it's crazy, because it's fucking possible. Like, I don't know about you guys. Like, I've never really like thought that heavy into like, conspiracies or like, secret groups and all these different things. But I also know that like these things are all fucking possible, because there's a lot of people out there that just like have their own views, and like with the internet, especially these days, like you can have unique views. And when I say unique, like to me, that's like putting it the nicest way possible. Like to me, they're out there views, but you can basically roll in with other people, bro. Like you can meet up with people from all over the world that might have the same like pretty out there fucking views, bro, or like practices, or like the way that you think life should be lived. And you can link up with these people, and like numbers creates power, right? So that's fucking crazy. Like everything you just said is like wild to me. But I also think that everything you just said is probably true on some level. You know what I mean? And it's fucking kind of crazy to think that way, because then you can kind of convince yourself into anything. But like in this instance, I don't feel like that's crazy for me to think that all that could very well be possible. And like, I don't know if I'd want to deep dive into it, because I would get lost in that.
Well, you guys know about like, this is totally like another conspiracy sort of thing, but also like I listened to like a whole podcast about a dude that's been doing like 12 years worth of research on this shit. But anyway, you guys hear about the fucking like UFO crash and like alien sighting sort of situation that happened in Brazil in like 96?
I am familiar with pieces of this because in my, watching things, I've heard it mentioned, but I don't know details.
Of course, I'm not going to be able to pronounce the city because I'm fucking illiterate. But that's besides the point. But there's a spot in Brazil where like supposedly an unidentified flying object had crashed, and there had been sightings of these like small like creature like figures that people actually came into contact with. Like one set of people with like three sisters from ages 14, 16 to 21, and like they saw one of these things like crouched down like so off the side of the road somewhere or some shit. And I can't remember exactly what happened with that, but like apparently like no one that has been in contact wants to fucking talk about it or anything really. But there's also like this soldier or whatever that was tasked to like transport one of the bodies of these so-called alien life forms to like a hospital to have them do like x-rays and stuff on this body bag, because they wouldn't even let the people at the hospital see what it was. It was just like in a bag, but they did all these x-rays and stuff. But they said the smell that came off of this thing was so intense that they literally had to shut down that entire wing of the fucking hospital because it was so crazy. And the dude that actually came into like direct contact with this thing actually ended up dying from some crazy like thing. Dude, like if you like literally look into this, bro, and like hear about some of the actual like eyewitness accounts that they've actually been able to get through years and years of fucking trial and error to try to like get people to, dude, like this shit sounds like it fucking happened, like legit. Like, you
Dude,
know what
it
I mean?
could have.
With the amount of evidence, of course, you guys, whoever might not be into it's going to be like, of course you heard it on this. But Rogan had this dude on his podcast that had done all this research and is like did this whole documentary about it. And dude,
Yeah, like that's
the
not
way
adding a lot of credibility, but still, it's possible.
no, well, here's the thing. It's like the dude himself actually has a lot of credibility. Just the fact that it's on Rogan, some people might just be like, oh, whatever, bullshit. But honestly, a lot of the people that he does have on there are like legit, scientists.
Yeah,
and,
he will have like, well, I guess that's what happens when you're like the biggest, right? Like you can
yeah.
get legit people from like all
But dude,
sorts of
just
fields.
the stories and the amount of details that this dude was giving, and like the amount of accounts that like coincided with each other's stories, you know what I mean? Like dude, like it was even to the point where I think like some like high up in like the Brazilian like government or whatever, or like a mayor of the city, I guess of that city, says that shit fucking happened, sort of thing. Like he even isn't 100% believe this shit fucking went down. You know what I mean? Like, so dude, it was crazy though, because I was listening to this shit and I was like, dude, if this isn't like probably one of the most solid like accounts, you know what I mean, with the amount of evidence that they have, sort of thing. Like, of course, there's still some things that are undercover or like under wraps that people aren't disclosing and stuff. Because there's the dude that was also in the car with the guy that like came in direct contact with the thing. And dude, this guy is so fucking like wound, like spun tight, dude, that like when they went to try to go talk to him, he was literally standing in the window with a fucking gun, saying, I'm not talking about the fucking whatever, you better leave or I'm going to fucking shoot you on sight, sort of thing. Like they didn't even have a chance to say what they were even there for. But as soon as they got out of the cars and walked that, he's like, I ain't, like, this dude fucking wound so tight, bro. Like he's keeping this shit close to the chest and ain't telling nobody about what happened.
Yeah, but like
yeah.
honestly, like, dude, the government could be like, yo, look, if you tell anybody what happens,
It
like
could be that too,
everyone
dude.
you've ever loved and contacted in your life is dead. Just to let you know.
Dude, it's some
No
crazy
pressure,
shit, though.
but don't say shit.
I'm not saying I 100% believe it, but dude, it just like some of these things just make me think. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
dude, okay, so have you guys ever seen the movie Fire in the Sky?
I don't think
It's from
so.
like the 90s. I think it's like called Fire in the Sky, the Travis Wilbury story, or I don't know. If you Google it, you'll find it. It's like basically like, it's one of those like, I don't even know if it's a loose adaptation, but it's like basically like told from his experience. And he was like abducted by aliens.
Oh, dude, I have a full description of what these aliens might have looked like, according to those girls. I just seen it right here.
I'm gonna find the Travis Wilbury thing.
It says The women described the creature as large-headed with spotted-like veins on the skin and some bumps on its head. Eyes were two red balls. The creature, later termed ET, seemed to be wobbly and unsteady, and the girls assumed it was injured or sick. That's crazy.
I mean, I would imagine it's wobbly and unsteady because it's not comfortable in Earth physical.
Yeah, and then here's the
Gravity.
description. Like, there's literally a whole page on Wikipedia about this fucking incident.
It's funny because I just pulled up another one because there's one close here, well, a state away from me, the Barney and Betty Hill incident.
Oh, dude, that one's intense too.
Yeah, and like there are stories of police officers who actually witnessed the abduction as these people were taken right off a bridge. And so like there's a whole Wikipedia on that too, and it goes deep into the stories of Betty's time in hypnosis, Barney's time in hypnosis, them identifying a star map that otherwise later becomes known as the Beta Reticuli star system, claiming that that's where the alien life form came from. Very, very interesting. And the crazy thing is that, like,
Dude, you know what's so funny about this whole conversation right now is that my dad is so into fucking aliens, bro. Like, he used to watch Ancient Aliens and all that shit all the time, and I used to just crack up at him and be like, Dad, you're hilarious. Not necessarily that I didn't really like think there's anything else out there, but like it just cracked me up how like into it what he is. And just like lately I've kind of been like getting into like a lot of those sort of like theories and like really kind of like diving into them, and like actually they're pretty fucking interesting, dude. Like I'm just like, dude, like what if this is true?
That's
You know what I
the
mean?
crazy
Just the
part.
possibility of it being, you know what I mean? And like not completely ruling it out, but not also completely believing. Just like, dude, how kind of crazy, cool slash, also intimidating is that? You know what I mean? Like that we could not have only been visited in the past, but are continuing to be visited to this day, and none of us really realize it or know it because we just blow it off and think people are crazy
I mean,
that talk
100%.
about aliens. You know what I mean?
I've often thought this question, right? If the government really wanted to keep aliens a secret, then the alien whistleblowers would all be dead. It's a lot
No, but
easier.
they just spin them off as they're crazy.
Or
Like, that's the
Exactly,
whole
yeah.
thing, right?
It's a lot
Like
easier to spin them off as a crazy person.
Yeah.
It's
They
like
just-
Bob Lazar.
Exactly.
You guys know about Bob Lazar, right? He's the guy that is claimed to be. I've worked at Area 51 and actually seen some of these
he was employed in
crafts
reverse
and also
engineering.
light forms, and like he has all these crazy, well, what are claimed to be crazy claims of like how they're back engineering some of this technology, and that it was like this crazy anti-gravity technology that like they were using this why can't I think of it, this fucking material that hadn't even been discovered yet, and then later on years later they actually came to discover this mineral or whatever it was. Why can't I think of the term right now? It's probably because I just took a fat ass dab and I'm trying to talk science. That's what happens when you
That's
get
tough,
stoned.
bro.
Yeah,
That's
dude.
tough
we
sometimes.
can't all be Giorgio Tsoukalos and
Yeah,
have like these facts.
my recall, dude, is so bad, dude. You know what I mean?
Speaking before we get too far away from it,
Yeah.
It's the Travis Walton. So that was this dude's name, right? And so like this is the storyline in the movie, but it's like basically like told, or it's like written, I guess, from his book. So he like wrote a book. So it's like almost like an adaptation from a book. But this is what the storyline is. It says, on the evening of November 5th, 1975, a group of loggers saw a bright crimson light in a forest, sorry. I'm pretty fucking high right now.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second.
Take your time, bro.
A group
Take your time.
of loggers saw a bright crimson light in a forest in White Mountains, Arizona. Curious, Travis Walton goes out for a closer look and is pushed to the ground by the blue-green energy beam His coworkers escape in terror, and they inform the police that Travis has been abducted by a flying saucer. For the next 5 days, Travis remains missing, and the loggers endure ridicule and contempt as they are accused of his murder. When he is found alive, Travis is unable to count the missing days, but the amazing ordeal slowly emerges. So like, it's like basically about these like people that are like out in the middle of like logging or whatever. One dude goes missing for 5 days, and he says that he got abducted by aliens. And then he comes back and like he doesn't even actually know what's happening. And it's like as time goes on, he's like, yo, I was fucking like straight up abducted by aliens.
Well, I mean, it's a very common thing amongst all alien abduction stories. Like, you'll hear a situation where it's like the person gets abducted, they go missing for 3-4 days, and then all of a sudden, like, it's like you get a phone call and it's like, "Hey, it's me, Jimmy. I'm at the I'm at the mini mart on the corner of Fifth and Sunset. Can you come get me? I don't know how I got here."
And I'm naked. Bring some clothes.
You know, like, and it's like,
But dude, I remember watching this movie though, like being high on mushrooms when I was like 16 years old, 17 years old, dude.
Did you see the
Tell you
aliens?
what,
Did they show the aliens?
like sleeping for a little bit was like it was a little difficult. I was
I
like,
mean, had you
yo,
eaten
that's
enough
fucking
mushrooms, you
wild.
might have actually communicated with the aliens.
I might have went and got abducted, bro. I might have found the light.
You may have that you may have been you may have discovered that you in fact are an alien. And see, when it
Oh,
comes
dude,
to ancient alien shit,
that's probably true. Maybe
that
mankind didn't even start on planet Earth. We came here. It's possible.
that's the thing that I love about the whole ancient alien theory, right? Like, I was watching a thing recently about how NASA has faked so many of the photos of Mars. And
Oh,
so they
dude, I've
got
heard
caught.
people say, Sean, that like nobody's actually ever landed on the moon. Like
Well,
I've heard,
so
and the people have said that that's like all like made up shit.
well, here's the thing. We know that someone's been on the moon because we actually put a reflector on the moon that we are able to fire a laser at and get a response from. So we know that we've put somebody there. Um, but what I think is interesting was that with the NASA thing, NASA got caught and had to admit that this was indeed a fact. So this is not conspiracy. This is 100% fact that NASA was faking rover images from Mars. So
Oh, really?
here's the thing. This all came to light because of the famous face on Mars. I think anybody who's dug into alien stuff has probably at least heard of it a little bit, but there are NASA images of Mars that really have a compelling case that what you're looking at is some sort of giant carved face on the surface of Mars and several pyramids that are built around it, indicating that there could have previously been life on Mars, even potentially that we may have come from that planet and seeded Earth.
Dude, that would actually make sense, right? Because if you think about it, they just like destroyed the fuck out of Mars human beings, and like they're like, okay, well, here's the deal. You morons are just gonna have to like all go to this like next planet over. And we'll see how long it takes for you guys to ruin that.
Pretty much. Pretty much. So the evidence from the science, so the data from the science so far is showing that there are really high levels of radiation found on Mars. The type of levels of radiation that, in fact, probably wouldn't be possible without nuclear weapons. So it kind of leads a case that, and it's just a theory, obviously, at this point, they haven't gotten that deep into it, but it leads an argument that quite possibly whatever race of creature was living on Mars initially devastated themselves through some level of nuclear war and had to go and colonize another viable planet. And thus humans exist now. But what's interesting is that NASA has been caught doctoring some of these images of Mars. where they've literally done basic Photoshop techniques to hide things. And in some cases, they just argue that it's to correct the image because of blemishes, of stitching images together. And
Yeah.
that may be true. But in other cases, it just seems interesting to people that there are always interesting areas that they want to avoid exploring in the first place, as though they want to hide this information. And what was really interesting was when they got caught with the color doctoring. So if you look at a lot of older Mars images, you'll notice that they all have that orangey red hue to them. And the way that NASA got caught doctoring images is that they made a distinction that there was a carbon dioxide rich environment on Mars. So, all right, not a lot of oxygen, but lots of carbon dioxide. Cool. Here's the thing. The skies in these images of Mars would always be this orangey reddish hue, and a carbon dioxide rich environment would leave more of a bluish sky. So people started going, this doesn't add up. And then there's this really unique piece of software. It's super special. I can't believe that common man has the capability to do this, but this thing called Adobe Photoshop, yeah, super high-tech software, right? They have a correct color correction feature in it where it kind of just understands that things should be a certain way and it fixes them to what they should be, right? Like it looks at the metadata inside and says, oh, all right, let's go back to what it should be. People would just take these Mars images and click that button, and all of a sudden, it's not like red
It's in the
rocky
Sahara.
Yeah, it's not exactly. It's not red rocky Sahara desert. It's like varying tones of browns and grays, and there's actually like a bluish gray sky, and it looks kind
Have
of.
you guys ever seen the
normal.
movie The Martian?
Yeah.
I like that movie. I'm not even like a huge
shout out to Matt Damon.
fan.
I was gonna say,
Yeah,
I'm,
like,
I'm
he's
contractually
fine. He's-
obligated to know about that movie because I'm from Boston. So
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's actually not a terrible movie.
I haven't watched it, but I'm at least aware of it because
honestly, it's a pretty good movie, dude. Like, I thought it was a pretty good movie. I'm not like a huge Matt Damon fan. I'm indifferent to Matt Damon. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not watching a movie because he's in it, but I'm also not going to not watch it because he's not in it. You know what I mean?
I can relate to that. Yep. You just know me. Like I'm not a fictional movie guy. I'm a documentary kind of guy. It just that's
I like
me.
them all, dude.
Fictional movies are once in a while,
Well,
but
not
documentaries
all,
I can
but-
chew them up all day.
I'm like definitely like a genre guy. Like there's sometimes that I'll watch certain things, like, but it has to be like certain kind of genres and shit. I think that comedy is probably the thing I watch the most, then action, maybe something like that. I don't watch a lot of fantasy or horror.
I don't watch. The only ones that I don't really watch are horror movies. I'll pretty much watch anything else, really.
I think I
But
just
like
short
alien
form
movies,
fiction.
bro, like alien movies do trip me out. Like legit ones, like abduction movies and shit. Like that stuff does trip me out because like I'm not sure that I would say that there isn't such thing as like aliens and or whatever, it all works out to be. And that's like makes me like sleep different, like that just like hits different in the sleep that night. If I'm watching like a real legit like to me scary alien abduction movie, I'm like,
don't worry about it.
Legit
Still got
could be
Will
aliens.
Smith. You're gonna be fine. He'll just slap an alien in the mouth and it'll be fine.
That'd be pretty cool. But I would
Independence
assume
Day
that
3, alien.
they can probably
slaps
just
the
like
bitch.
kill your brain out and be like, yes, master, and you just like go into the fucking UFO or some shit.
I just hope it's like Mars Attacks. I want the like.
Yeah, dude, it's like fucking Coneheads. If it's Coneheads, the jig's up. I know what you look like. I know what's up.
If we can have Coneheads be a thing, like real alien Coneheads, let's go. I love
Who knows,
that movie.
bro?
That bit was
it's
so
crazy
good.
to think about, though. You know what I mean?
Dude, Dan Aykroyd.
Because that also like
dude.
brings me back. Like it's kind of staying on the whole alien thing. It kind of just brings me back to like that whole, like I've talked about it before too, like the whole ancient, like alien things where like how else do you think we got the fucking pyramid? They probably helped us figure out some crazy sort of technology back in the day, and I mean to help us fucking build these crazy things. And then over the years, we fucking lost it because we're fucking idiots, or like some crazy catastrophe happens to where all the people that knew this shit fucking died off. And then we went back to, dude, it's just crazy to think about. Like, if that's could be true, that could explain a lot of things that we don't know how to explain.
I mean, I watched enough Ancient Aliens over the years now to feel fully convinced that some of those hieroglyphs, some of those carvings and things, it is difficult as hell to argue that that isn't some sort of person in a spacesuit or some sort of rocket ship. Like, it's so hard to argue against these things. When you look at these, it's like, with my knowledge and understanding of modern technology, I see something that ancient people wouldn't have otherwise been able to explain and just had to depict in some sort of a drawing, right? I mean, artwork of a dude in a bright, glowing craft in a religious connotation, but he's literally sitting inside this bright craft with a fucking steering wheel. You know what I mean? Like, there are like these little things throughout our history of, even modern man all the way back to ancient times that it defies reason that these things should have been depicted with our current understanding of what we're told these ancient civilizations are like. If our modern understanding of Egyptians is, slaves, whips, rolling big ass blocks on,
Dude, and here's the thing too, bro.
logs.
It's like there's even theories that the pyramids at some point were some sort of energy source or like fucking machine, because like the way that
I heard that like they produce
provided some sort of
electricity.
energy of some sort. You know,
I think
what
it was like
mean?
electricity or some shit, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I'm
there's-
saying.
there's
But
a
like not
dude who's-
energy like how we know it though, like in a different sort of way. You know what I mean? That's also could have been how they powered some of their machines or fucking tools that they use to help create some of these crazy, precise sculptures and cuts in these stones to make them to where they piece together perfectly, even though they're fucking thousands upon thousands of tons, and how they move them from like miles and miles across the desert. You know what I mean? And all this sort of shit. Like in these
up
obelisks.
ramps up 3,000
Yeah.
feet into the air. Like, the interesting thing too is that this takes us up to Tesla, right? Tesla was quoted as saying that he understood the secret of the pyramids, and that his idea of free energy by tapping into the energy that exists just in the earth itself, the magnetic
Yeah,
field.
he was able to power a whole fucking city without any wires.
This is where my brain goes. There was another man in Florida. I think his name is Edgar Casey. I could be wrong. No, Edgar Casey is the psychic. My bad. But there's a man in Florida who built the Coral Castle. He too said that he had discovered the secret of the pyramids and what the pyramid builders knew. This man has built monolithic structures, all without the use of loud machinery and modern tools, to the point he has this door that is probably, I don't fully remember dimensions, but I think it's like 8 or 10 feet tall by a solid like 6 or 8 feet wide. And it's so perfectly balanced on a pivot point in the center that a single person with a single, hand can lightly push it and it will pivot and open. And like, this is a place you can go visit. Like, you can go pay your money and go see this place and experience what this man was capable of doing.
I would check that out. All those things that could have been in the past, like I believe a lot of everything. You know what I mean? Like my mind is open to like so much history that like I just can't discount that like these things are possible, because all of the stuff that is over there, like I'd really like to go there one day just so I could kind of see it. and like be there. Do you know what I mean? But just they accomplish like crazy things, bro. Because like if okay, let's just say that it's not aliens that created pyramids, right? Let's say they're like actual,
I'm not
like,
saying that they even created it, just helped build the technology to
they
help them be
gave
made.
the
You know what I mean?
people the knowledge necessary
Exactly.
to do it.
Oh, that's what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm not saying they built them themselves. I'm saying they fucking gave us the knowledge and possibly the tools to get it done. You know what I mean?
So like it could have come from like a visionary that just like saw it, but it was
Exactly, like
put there by a fucking
someone
alien.
came down from another planet and found this group of people and said, I want to help you build these things to further your civilization, and these is how it's done, and this is what you need to do it.
How
sort
many
of thing.
How many native peoples? That's part of their origin story.
That's what I'm
the
saying.
Sky Father came down and said, "It is time for us to, bring your people to the next step or the next level," and then imparted the wisdom of the Sky people to them, and then that is how those tribes advanced. Like it is common all over the world. Native peoples all over the world have a very similar origin story. It's usually the Sky people, or it's like or in like some of the Western countries or Western states here in America, it's the ant people, people who came out of the ground, which then gets you into Hollow Earth, which that's a whole other fucking
dude, that gets me
hole.
into like Stranger Things.
Well, dude, you've seen these
fucking
you've seen some of these fucking caverns and caves that they've been able to find in the ground where it's like full on ecosystems underneath the earth. You know what I mean? Where they've got their own plant life and their own, you know what I mean, source of wildlife living within these tiny ecosystems within the earth, just in these giant fucking caverns and crevices that have never been explored because we never had a chance to fucking explore them before. You know what I mean?
Look at the people in Cappadocia. Ancient people of Cappadocia in Turkey actually had to live in cave systems for several years to escape their invading forces, and they were able to create, through the natural cave systems that were already there, full communities, multi-level communities, air shafts, the whole nine. They were able to raise livestock, they were able to grow food, they were able to do all of these things underground in cave systems. And what's amazing is that one of these systems was actually discovered by a man in Turkey who just wanted to renovate his home. And he went to go like knock down a wall in his basement to like further expand his basement out. And it opened up into this tunnel. And as he began to explore it, what he found was this just huge underground complex of tunnels and like dug out little cave rooms and shit like that. And as archaeology ensued, the story came along that these were ancient people of Turkey and they were living here for centuries, it seemed. So if that's possible, like, what else is possible? It doesn't defy logic to say that, sure, you could have a powerful race of extraterrestrial that lives inside some giant cavernous space within our Earth.
What's in the oceans, bro?
That's another great one. USOs, unidentified submerged objects.
Dude, I don't think I've ever heard that before, but I should have, because that makes sense.
Yeah, man, like countless naval sailors and admirals and all that will tell stories of, things that are moving at unnatural speeds underwater, bright lights, seeing things, glowing orbs and things that will jump out of the water and fly into the sky and disappear, and vice versa, come from the sky, dive into the water, and then just seemingly disappear. There is
aliens, bro.
Yeah, like it is
just
again,
say it,
just
Sean.
like alien
just say it, Sean. There is aliens, bro.
It is entirely fair to speculate that aliens can't have to, but very well could be there due to the fact that we know we've explored what I think it's like 10 or 15%
Not
of
even
our
nothing,
oceans.
nothing, bro.
Yeah, barely anything.
Like we've barely scratched the surface. We have no clue what's going on underwater.
Think about the civilizations that have been swallowed up by the oceans over thousands of years. You know what I mean? Because we know we know that at one point the world had a single continent called Pangea. And now we are fucking 7 different continents, if I'm not mistaken, right? 7? Am I wrong?
I think you're right. That sounds right.
I think it's 7 different continents.
We're showing how long removed from school we are.
Oh, I hope I'm right, because if not, I'm gonna feel real
I'm Googling
stupid.
right now.
Nah, dude, I'm like very confident that it's 7. So I was
Google says there are 27. No, I'm just fucking with
you. It says there's 7?
It's 7, yeah.
Okay, sick, dude.
Yeah,
now
dude.
I feel smart.
I
I said that so confidently, bro. So like I wanted to make sure I was right. But yeah, dude. So like think about what could have been around, even as the expansion, happened and the continents started to move and the waters rose, what it could have been and where it could have been and what could have been there. You know what I mean?
Allegedly, we're on our way to 8 continents now. I have.
Oh, did you hear about? No, did you hear about what's happening in Africa?
Yeah, Africa is splitting.
Dude, there's this dude. Can you pull up a picture so we can show?
I'm doing it right now. Hold on.
Is it for real?
For
reals.
This is for real. Shifting tectonic plates have been splitting the continent since the East African Rift, a 35-mile-long crack in Ethiopia's desert, emerged in 2005. Tectonic plate shift in Ethiopia show that the African continent is splitting in 2, paving the way for Earth's 6th ocean to emerge, according to researchers.
What?
It's nuts, dude.
Hang on. I'm pulling up the pictures right now, and then we can kind of go for it from there.
I totally forgot about this, Sean. I'm so glad you brought this up.
This is some unbelievably earth-shattering news. Sorry for the pun.
Literally earth is shattering.
But yeah, look at this.
Yep, there you go.
Bang.
But yeah, look at how fucking far it goes, dude.
So can you click on a picture and make it bigger where it's actually going to show like what part's breaking off?
So if I go to one of these map ones, you can see here that the way that this is splitting, we could break Africa off and apart right like this.
Yeah, the whole eastern half basically of that bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's 100% getting worse. And
damn, look at it, dude.
Here we go. Here's a great aerial shot for you to really see. That's insane.
Yeah, so it might take another 1,000 years.
Yeah, but even then, dude, it's happening, dude. You know what I mean? More so than what they said is going to happen in California. It's actually happening in Africa.
It's mind-boggling.
That's so nuts, dude.
Look at this. You can actually see it beginning here in space now. Some of the rifts are starting to really open. It's a crazy time. It's a crazy time. Who knows what's going to happen? But yeah, Africa's splitting into
2 continents. That's fucking crazy.
Yeah, wild. Africa's
well, dude, if you think about it, right?
Italy.
Well, but think about it like this, right? So if you think about just how landscapes are made and all that stuff, and it depended on from that ice age, you know what I mean? You go back to that point and when the ice was moving and melting and whatever else, that's what created sediment deposits and all these different things, created mountains and all that stuff. That right there could still happen within the existence of the earth, right? So California at some point, maybe it's 10,000 years from now, it'll fucking fall off. You know what I mean? Just obviously that piece of Africa, I would imagine it would probably be falling off.
Here's the thing. Let's be real. Shit's gonna change, bro. Like, well, it's going to change a lot. You know what I mean? We're here for a short time. You know what I mean? It may seem long to us, but let's be honest. The world's been here a long time. And I mean a
Yes.
long time. And it has changed multiple times since its I would expect since its original state. And it's going to change many times over and go through many different, either ice ages or whatever you want to call it, or it's fucking who
It might be
knows.
just a Mars, bro.
Who know? Well, I'm saying there might be some sort of other cataclysm that happens. You know what I mean? Where like some sort of crazy eruptions happen all over the world, or we get fucking pelted with another fucking meteor storm, or fucking a comet comes in and fucking smacks us and does something. Who fucking knows, bro? You know what I mean?
Well, I
It's
mean,
just
shit. At some point, our sun is going to die, and when our sun dies,
so do we.
then it's all
It'll
over.
be a cold ass place, bro.
Well, no, it'll vaporize us first. When a sun, when a star collapses on itself and dies, it collapses
implodes?
in, and then it creates a sort of fission that it then creates a gigantic nuclear explosion that will likely wipe out every planet all the way out to the asteroid belt before it fully shrinks back down after the explosion into its final dead state. So, realistically, everything
Sun
this
go
side of the
boom, we go
asteroid belt will
boom.
just be
Yeah, everything goes boom.
Yeah.
gone. And then there'll just be some
Good news is
cold-
we won't be here for that.
yeah, you're talking
No.
5 billion years or more before something like that is even possible.
Speaking of the sun, I don't know if this video is real, but it's kind of crazy. There's this fucking crazy zoomed up like thing of the sun, and they're looking at through like some crazy telescope that we have. This is all hearsay, just saying. But you're just like looking at the surface of the sun, and it's doing its like flickering thing, from like all the gases and things. And all of a sudden, this like black shadowy thing kind of just comes up, like this black shadowy orb. And all of a sudden, these tentacles fucking come out and fucking like reach out to like the surface of the sun, and it looks like it's like absorbing something. And then all of a sudden, they fucking retract, and it fucking just fucking shoots off, dude. How crazy is that?
Dude, that's fucking crazy.
Dude, I saw it and I was like, bro, if this is some Photoshop shit, this is pretty sick. But if not, dude, that's even crazier.
So, according to our
Sean found it.
mainstream media, because you can choose to believe them or not. I'll leave that up to you, the listener. Says telescope images captured of the sun on Monday show what appears to be a planet-sized shadowy object tethered to the sun by a dark filament. In the image sequence, a burst of brightly lit material can be seen erupting from the sun's surface surrounding the dark object, after which the orb detaches from the sun and shoots out into space.
God damn it, I love it when you look up what I'm talking about, Sean, because it makes me feel like I'm not lying when I know I'm not.
I'm gonna give you guys the quick
It's not
share.
complete bullshit. Yeah, dude, you gotta see it. Do you have the video?
Well, here's at least a screen cap of it right there.
Yeah, that's exactly what I saw though.
So that's the screen cap, and it says that what this actually is part of a solar flare.
Oh.
So, the thread extends.
Yeah, but do you really believe NASA people? Like, I don't know.
I believe in science.
I believe that they let you know what they are willing to control you with.
Exactly.
It says when prominences are that extended in height above the limb edge of the sun, it's usually a sign that they're about to erupt, as this one did. So apparently, this is the bending before it erupts a solar flare.
Oh man, I thought I was on to something cool.
But hey, like Uncle Chris said, you can choose to believe NASA. You can choose not to. The interesting thing is that NASA is in fact a government agency. It is a military organization. So take that for what you will.
Yes, but what exactly is a solar flare? Is that something coming and absorbing the solar energy and taking off? And that's the only way they can describe it because they didn't know what it was to begin with. Dun
Dun-dun-dun-dun.
dun dun.
I know this. Somewhere the aliens are out there. Oh wait, he's right there. Oh shucks, it's just Mr. Burns. Yep. I had to make
Tell
that.
you what, dudes, I'm super into this like whole alien thing, and I'm also really stoned.
Yeah, dude, I was gonna say, like, I'm really high. Like, if you didn't
Yes.
go that far, I was gonna say that.
It totally feels like we are just building up to our own version of Action Bronson watches Ancient Aliens.
Bro, if we can watch that and fucking do like a podcast or like
I don't see why I technically couldn't do that.
I have no idea.
we'll have to look into that.
Yeah,
That'd be
we're gonna
kinda
have to
cool.
look into this, but we might be able to make this happen and give people color commentary while we watch Ancient Aliens episode. That could be a riot. We'll have to pregame a little first.
Dude, we
just to
can
get
even
it.
make it maybe like a patron exclusive thing. You know what I mean? Where it's like we
Oh.
live stream it.
This I like.
You know what I mean?
Then they could be in a chat too, possibly.
Yeah. That's what I'm
Yeah, and
saying.
interact with us while we're bullshitting watching Ancient Aliens.
Exactly.
Yes. There we go. We are on to something now. It's for educational purposes, so it doesn't
Yeah,
violate
and with
the
that,
FBI.
it's like it's on Patreon too, so it's a private thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we'll have to look into the overall legalities of this, but if
Yeah,
we can
dude,
make this work,
that'd be
technically
sick.
speaking, that'd be a riot and that'd be a lot of fun, and we should do it.
Or dude,
It's-
even watch is it Ancient Apocalypse? That Graham Hancock thing on Netflix.
oh yeah. I did catch a couple of those, and you were
Dude,
right.
that one's real interesting, bro.
It is some good shit. It is some damn good shit. Like, I love it. I love it. Aliens are real. I don't care what anybody says. Aliens are real. There's interestingly, like on the whole alien subject, still there is the Book of Thoth, and the Book of Thoth is allegedly, because we can't technically prove or disprove it, but it is said to be a story of the entire history of mankind. And what I find very interesting is that with a lot of things we've talked about so far in this podcast, um, they do kind of line up a little bit with some things that the Book of Thoth says. For example, he tells a story of several alien civilizations who all were co-inhabiting Mars at the same time, and that this was a relatively peaceful agreement, and everything worked out pretty well until one of the factions started to get greedy and wanted more and more voting power and that sort of thing, and started creating hostilities. This led to an all-out war, which inevitably destroyed the planet of Mars and left it irradiated. At which point, those same alien survivors went and colonized Earth, the nearest inhabitable planet, and started a civilization here. Thus begins the story of the Anunnaki, the people who came and had to create a worker being in order to make their lives easier. And that worker being us, the humans. Directly descendant of alien beings. So let's go.
Dude,
Children of the Stars.
I all of a sudden got too high for this conversation, bro. Like, oh man. Oh,
Yes, we are children of the stars, my friends.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
Well, at the end of the day, technically we are, because Big Bang Theory, right? Whatever the Big Bang is, that cosmic energy exploded and spewed out all of its energy and all of everything out into a cosmic nothingness, creating all of the universe. that stardust is what makes up the particles that create the inevitable molecules that then build every single thing on the entire existence of our universe. So we, in fact, are product of stardust, products of the Big Bang.
That's true. And like without the sun, as you mentioned, right, we would die. And it's a star. So even if you want to go that route, like we're still children of a star. All that stuff though, like I find it so interesting, but like I could never really go and do any research myself. It's more so like I find it interesting when like people are telling me about it, sort of thing. You know what I mean? So like let's just say that like James or Sean, one of you guys was like really, really into all that shit, and like you would just get high and like you just like talk about whatever your thoughts are on like alien life and all these different things for like an hour. Like that'd be interesting to me. But I
So we
think that
just
for me it's
So
it's
this
like the
episode
human
today
we
was
just
interesting
did.
for you.
yeah,
So-
it's like it's the human part, right? So
Yeah.
it's like your perspective, like not like, oh, let's do all this research and like I want to find out. It's just like what you think. And just having that like conversation, you know, like that's what I like. That I'm more into that than doing any research myself.
Yeah,
I'd
I'm
like
at
to
the
do
point
it.
where it's just like I think it's crazy to think that there's not anything else out there. You know what I mean? Like it's the fucking universe is so vast. You know what I mean? We cannot be the only planet that has some sort of intelligent life living on it. And not only that, but who's to say that there wasn't one here way before we existed? Like Sean said, that maybe even helped create what we are today. Or who knows, bro? Like the possibilities, bro, are endless. Our knowledge is actually so limited. Like even though we have been around for so long, our knowledge on the universe itself, bro, is and then when you think about that and then think about the ancient times and how fucking well they knew the stars and fucking based their fucking like navigation and everything off of astrology and how much knowledge they had of the actual fucking, universe at that time, or even just this galaxy, and they didn't even have half the technology we have, how would they know about that shit? Someone would have to tell them.
That's it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Or
like
show
here's a
them.
question for you though. Like here's a like legit question. Like, do you think that something like Star Wars, right? Like just for example.
Could it happen?
No, but like do you think it could have already happened?
Oh,
Who knows, dude?
100%.
Who
Like
fucking
that's
knows?
what I think, right? Like if it could have happened, I think it would have already
I mean,
Why
happened.
wouldn't it?
Like not could,
Why-
it would. Or
Why
has.
wouldn't it?
Yeah, like that whole story, right, of the battle on Mars. That could totally be a Star Wars fucking plot right there.
Yeah, for
You
real.
know what I
Exactly.
mean? Like,
Or Star Trek or any of that shit.
goddamn,
Yeah, like,
Death
I
Star
was just
floating
using
as a
that as
false
an
And
example.
who's to
Yeah,
say
any
all these
space.
stories that we're creating of based off these aliens and stuff aren't just fucking deep fucking memories of stuff that, could have been passed down or just fucking, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? We're
coded
just
language. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's just coming out and we're like, hey, this shit is real. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, you talk about things like that. So there was a Vatican scientist. Yes, I know that seems like an oxymoron, but there was a Vatican scientist who had a strong belief that his ability to commune with God and spirit was deeply connected to his understanding of the science of physics, and that he truly believed that the science and religion were actually something that coexisted and were intertwined. He also happened to be the greatest exorcist in all of Italy. So,
Oh, isn't this the movie that fucking what's his name? Why can't I remember his name? Russell Crowe just did, where he was the Pope's personal like exorcist guy, and like he had like a weird. I think that he might be the same dude.
I
don't
What's
know
the
if I've
Pope's
heard of that.
name? What's the Pope's name? Or was he a Pope or like not the
no,
Pope?
he wasn't a pope. He
but-
like I said, he was just a priest, but he was
Yeah, what was his
working
name?
under Pope.
Hold on, I'm gonna look.
I think it was maybe it was Clement. But either way, he was said to have done a study on the power of sound and the way that it affected time and space.
He was father Gabriel. I don't know, but anyways, there's a movie that fucking Russell Crowe's literally like the Pope's exorcist, and I feel like that could have been the same guy, dude.
How new is that movie? Like,
It came out 2023 February.
oh, so it's like really quite recent. Okay,
Yeah, beginning of the year.
I'll probably watch that. I don't mind Russell Crowe. He's
Yeah,
he's
it's
like
like
Matt Damon for me.
it's
Maybe
kind
a
of
little
like
bit better than
a
Matt Damon.
I feel like it's one of those like kind of like horror thriller type deals. So I personally won't watch it, but
let's see if I can tell you this guy's name now, because I just had to go ahead and like quickly Google a couple of things just to get his name. Dun, 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 dun. Oh yeah, gotta love this fucking. This is gonna be a great source. I already know. Oh man. Oh gosh, I'm gonna be.
Hit us with it.
What is his name? The I believe it was Pellegrino Ernetti, so Father Ernetti.
okay, maybe not then.
Yeah,
And
yes,
this was like a real life person.
yes. Father Ernetti is a real life person. He was a physicist who was also a priest. And basically he had done a study on the ability of sound, specifically Gregorian chants, and how they could affect time and space. And he is said to have created an actual type of time machine that allegedly exists within the Vatican archive. And it is not a time machine in the sense that we think of, where like it will physically transport us to another time and place, but it will visually on a small screen show you the time and place that you want to see. And it was
So you
said
get to
that,
like just like basically like virtually like tap into that like spot
so it was said
from
that,
where you're physically like lying down or whatever.
so basically, well, no, so basically like you're watching a little TV screen that you're programmed in to show you, say, the crucifixion of Christ. And then you can watch the crucifixion of Christ. And then you could go back to the fall of Rome and watch the fall of Rome. And there have been, the father has been obviously discredited. People mock and argue that it's not possible. However, the Vatican recently passed a law stating that nobody may design or operate a device using sound in order to travel through space and time. Now, why would the Vatican do that if such a device didn't exist already, or at least the ability to do so? And this is where the conspiracy lies, because the Vatican archive is only accessible to a very small number of people ever. The odds of anybody ever being able to locate this device within the archive and confirm its existence are completely minuscule. So, also really interesting story. But yeah, who knows? Maybe the Vatican's got a secret time machine and they can see through time and they already know what's going to happen.
I mean, once again, maybe. Why not?
It was said to be banned because of the fact that the ability of that sort of thing to fall into the hands of somebody with ill intent could be used for unmeasurable forms of evil.
Which honestly makes sense.
And I would agree. I mean, let's just be honest. Imagine if Vladimir Putin had a device like that right now.
But also imagine if we could use that and then go back to the vision of the pyramids and how they're being built and see what technology they're using.
Well, that's what I want to do it right now. Like, I want to be like, all right, well, let's answer some of these alien questions. Let's go
Right.
back. Let's find out, when did they get this knowledge? When did they figure this out? Is that really a light bulb that we see carved in the wall?
Dude, that would be crazy. Because you would also be safe doing so, right? Like,
Yeah.
and
you're
whenever you
just in the
see
comfort of
somebody
your
who's
home.
time traveling, like there's always like some serious threat to their lives. So
Well, I
like
mean-
this way, I'm just like kicking it, and like the only threat after that point would be me living with what I've seen, you know?
You've seen the time traveling hipster, right?
No,
You don't know about the time traveling hipster?
I
Oh
do not know.
man, here we go. Let me pull up this seemingly
Yeah,
innocuous
lay it on me.
photo.
I want to hear about the time traveling
All
hipster.
right, so here we go. I'm going to go ahead and share screen again for you so that you can see the time traveling hipster. So as my screen loads in for you guys, here we go. You can see it now. All right, so you take a look at this group of people and they're all lined up. I cannot entirely remember the backstory of what they're all lined up for here, but you know, everybody looks pretty normal and there's nothing really weird here. Or is there? What's up with this guy over here? Let me pull up this one now that has him circled. Notice how out of place he looks compared to the rest of the people in the photo. See how like he's got a really weird, unique pair of sunglasses that don't line up to anything anybody else is seen wearing. Uh, his t-shirt and his sweater that he's wearing do not line up to the day's fashion at all. More interesting. Let's see if this one looks like we might be able, nope, too small. There is speculation that this camera that he's holding in his hand down here is too modern of a camera for the era that this photo is taken. So very interesting. But yeah, this story is known as the time traveling hipster because I mean, he looks kind of like hipster fashion, and he definitely stands out like a sore thumb. Once you see him in this image, you can't unsee him. It's like, yeah, dude, he definitely doesn't feel like he belongs in this group of people. He kind of just sticks out as being out of place.
Yeah, like you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Like now, I can't unsee it. Like he just instantly pops out to me.
Like, is he really a time traveler? Or is there a logical explanation? Again, this is one of those you can prove and disprove it back and forth all day, and no one's going to ever be satisfied. But I love the story because somebody just found this photo and was like, "Wait a minute, this guy doesn't look like he belongs here. What's going on?" See if we can find some other proof of time travelers.
Dude, that is like really something though. Like that was pretty like I don't know.
I love this one that this person's using as a thumbnail. Nicolas Cage is a time traveler.
I mean, why not?
I mean, he doesn't feel like he's aging these days, right? Like he should look a lot older than he does. But yeah, if you look at this side by side comparison of some old timey guy in a photo, it definitely would look like that could pass as Nicolas Cage.
There's a lot of those, dude, where they do like people side by side, and it's like, oh, it probably could be like just a distant relative, bro.
Yeah, like I don't really buy this one, but it makes me laugh.
Yeah.
This one is a little weird though. Talk about a look-alike.
Yeah, Greta Thunberg definitely has one. Yeah, for sure.
That's definitely an uncomfortable one. Oh, this is a good one too. They say that Vladimir Putin is a time traveler. He's not aging at all.
He fought in World War One, World War Two, and
Yeah, amazing, huh? We got another one. That's a clear Photoshop.
Yeah.
Clear Photoshop. That's a shame.
Dude, it looks like Ricky Gervais.
Yeah, it's a Photoshop.
This young fella does not have a cell phone in his hand.
That's
He's
probably
probably got like a
probably a
tin
10
can.
Yeah, it's probably like a tennis, like some sort of.
Dude, it looks like a tin can with like a spoon jammed into like the empty tin can.
This is a good one though. I have seen this pop up. This is a legitimate painting, and people allege that this woman is holding a cell phone in her hand. I don't buy that that's a cell phone. I think it's some sort of just note on a piece of paper or something, and that is how it was drawn or painted. I should be fair, but I don't think that's actually a cell phone.
No.
There's allegedly a video of some workers that were leaving. Oh my god! I just bang this image right here. People believe that this woman is talking on a cell phone.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, like I've
You're just
watched the video
realizing
clip
something.
itself. So this was 1938, and you see her come through, and she does put it up towards her face as though you would hold a phone. But I'm not convinced that it's a cell phone. That's probably more than likely like a little clutch purse or something that she's holding. Um, but it's an interesting thing because I mean, who knows? Maybe she did. Maybe she had a communication device. Maybe she was calling
Maybe
back
it's
to the
just like an
mothership.
old school like compact mirror, and she's just like holding it up there because she knows it like shines off her teeth real good because her smile is really like bright and white,
100%. That could be. But again, maybe she's an alien and she's calling the mothership.
I mean, that's also possible.
She's a
Like,
shape-shifting lizard person.
there's a lot of possibilities.
Who knows, dude?
Oh, there's also one that alleges that someone is holding a smartphone in the background of a Tyson fight. Like you can clearly see what looks to be a camera and light already been
Oh, and like that
debunked.
was before smartphones, obviously, because like
Yep,
it's like the late '80s kind of shit.
yep. But however, it was debunked because there was this like type of video camera that had been made that like you could hold like a cell phone. It was just a little tiny box. So that got debunked too. But like the time travel thing is still one of those that I'm always super intrigued by. Because like we all grew up with that as part of sci-fi television and stuff like that. Like everybody's probably watched an episode of something or watched a movie or two about time travel. And like I want it to be real so bad. Like
It would be crazy, dude. Like I was watching this video earlier today, like this morning when I woke up, and it was like this footage from like 1911 that they colorized. And dude, that was crazy because it made you feel like you were like seeing like legit what it was like in 1911, like all the different colors and like how people would dress and like everybody like back in those days, if you were a man, you wore like a suit with a tie and a hat, you know what I mean? And like it was crazy, dude. Just to
yeah,
think what it would have been like at that time.
I
Horse and
Dude, I
buggies
honestly
going
don't
down the
think that
street.
like I would have wanted to live in a time too much before my own. You know what I mean?
I feel
I
like
don't know if I would want to live there, but I would
yeah,
definitely it'd be cool to see. You know,
Oh, I'd yeah. Oh no, I'd visit a bunch of stuff. Like that'd be cool.
I feel like
Be cool to
I
see like
want
where I grew up like 150 years ago, like what it'd be like, you know what I mean? Shit like that. Or
I want implication free time travel. That's the problem, right? Like we
no,
all
that's
know
true.
the trope, right? That if you go back in time, you can't do or touch or affect anything because it'll destroy the future. Um, so like I want implication free, like uh in Doctor Who, for example, they have this like magic cloaking ability, basically from one of Doctor Who's little alien tools, where no matter where they are, how they're dressed to each other, to the rest of the world, they appear to just blend in as normal people. Like, I want that kind of a time travel.
Yeah.
So that way, like,
no, it masks your fucking accent to fit the time,
exactly.
or like this, or the language that
Exactly. You speak your language, but they hear theirs. Like, you just completely
That
blend
would be
in.
so cool, dude.
So you could go back to like the Wild West times, go just have a beer at a saloon and see what that was like. And then maybe,
It'll
go to
probably
ancient
taste
China, go to Egypt and just be a person in that time.
For how long though?
However long you fucking want. It's your choice.
Like you could be like, oh, I'm gonna go for a month vacation. And you could be like, I'm going to the simple times.
Here's the thing, dude. You can go for however long you want and come back to the exact moment you left.
Yeah. That's the
'Cause that's
thing.
how time travel works.
You can go spend
I
a
think.
fucking you can go
I don't
spend
know.
20
but
minutes.
I would hope.
Go back to the dinosaurs and be like, all right, this sucks. I'm out.
You'd be gone for like 30 seconds.
Yeah, but so this is the thing though. Like, if you die there, you die there, right? Like,
yeah, that's why you don't die there,
in this
Chris.
theory.
That's why you don't die there, Chris.
Yeah, I guess like if you could pull the Dorothy and just like click your ankles, then like that'd be pretty good.
Yeah, you have your little special magic fucking pod that all you're gonna do is just
you know what I mean?
whoop,
So it's a little fucking Apple Watch, bro. You just tap it and bada bing, you're out
beam
of
me
there.
up Scotty status.
Yeah.
It'd be cool if like you could just do it through your brain.
You just blink your eyes twice.
Not even. You could just think about it. You'd be like, okay, now's the time. Let's go.
All right, we out. Bink.
Yeah. And you don't even have to verbalize it.
Straight bewitched. Bang. Gone.
You just sneeze real quick and you're out of there. Shit. All right.
Dude.
Oh man. Dude.
Some of those old TV shows at that time, like it's so like fucked to look back on, like the way that they viewed some things that like obviously have been, further research and stuff since
Listen,
then.
don't be
like,
mad that you don't
from
have
the
a genie in the
50s.
bottle.
No, but I mean like even just like some of those shows from like the 50s, and like they'll be talking about stuff, and like at that point, like they'd never even been to the moon or any of that shit's like. So like their depiction of space is different than like what it is now, and all sorts of different shit like that. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole era of cultural creative things that say Pluto's a planet.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair though, like they've flip-flopped on that a couple times, right?
I mean, you better be careful.
Wasn't it not a planet? Then it was a planet. Then it wasn't a fucking planet. Like
I just know my whole life growing up, it was a planet. And then one day they were like, nope, actually, it doesn't technically meet the definition of a planet. So now
so it's no longer a planet.
It's just this like thing that's also part of your solar system, but not a planet and not a moon. A celestial body, I think, is what it's called. Like, cool. And then I watched Rick and Morty and remember that there's little aliens out there who are, really campaigning for it to become a planet again. And
Boots on the ground type
saying,
shit.
They're working hard to try and they haven't got a delegate from Earth yet to be able to make that affirmation again.
Yeah, they have to infiltrate. I mean, they're struggling. They keep on like coming here, but like they can't quite fit in.
Well, they haven't figured
they
out
have
that
to go back.
We don't have that sway yet. Like we're just not there. I'm sorry.
We can't get it together.
Dude, it makes you wonder too, like if there, is aliens, it's like if they came to Earth, it's like, yo, like these people are fucking slow. Like, what are they doing here? Like, this is like what I read about in the history books 1,000 years ago from our planet. You know what I mean?
I mean, some say that the reason that the aliens haven't fully revealed themselves to us again is because we're violent and crazy.
Well, and the reason why they also say that the abductions, but the sightings have picked up so much over the years is if you notice, the number of sightings kind of started popping up more after we dropped the fucking first nukes, bro.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're like, oh hey, these guys got some fucking shit. We might want to go check.
Yeah,
out,
like
make sure
grab
they
some
don't
attention.
either blow each other up or try to come and bring that shit over here. You know what I mean? Like, who knows?
Preventative measures have like got them to come scope out shit.
Yeah.
They're like, wait, maybe they could be a threat. We thought they were just idiots.
Well,
Turns out they're idiots that can produce nuclear weapons.
some would argue that once again, if we go back to this idea that the surviving different species of extraterrestrial came and colonized here after such a conflict had underwent on Mars, it could stand to reason that varying different factions would have different interests in what happens with us, right? Some would want us to evolve into a better species. Some would want to see us destroy each other so that they can take over the resources on this planet. So now
But what do the bookies want, Sean? What do the alien bookies want?
I mean,
because you know people be gambling on that shit.
I hear the over under is for total destruction. You know, a repeat. But
that makes sense.
We'll see what happens.
Probably the most likely outcome.
They got the kill them all and let God sort them out mentality, I think.
But like it's very possible. Like you could have a species of alien that is genuinely here trying to guide us to, you know, brighter futures, and then you could have, you know, as people will often say, the reptilians. You know, maybe the reptilians are the real ones, and they're like out here pulling the strings and making shit worse for people. You know, if you want to get into the reptilians, they're saying that all our world leaders and a lot of our favorite celebrities are all reptilian shapeshifting who are here to help mind control the human population. So if you want to buy that whole theory, then you get into some sticky subjects.
How do you think some of these Hollywood movies get fucking funding, you know? It's because their fucking aliens are connecting. That's like the way that the alien, you know,
how do you think these aliens in these action thrillers look so real? Because they're real. They're actually a fucking cast.
Yeah, different races of aliens, bro.
That's right. We actually cast those aliens from Independence Day from their home planet.
Yeah.
They were paid actors.
All those characters in Star Wars, they're real.
Remember Star Trek Troopers?
Yeah.
That was
dude.
That wasn't a movie, folks. That was live news coverage.
Yeah. Could you imagine, dude?
I don't want spider aliens. No, thank you.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I don't even really like spiders, period. Let alone ones that are like 4 or 5 times as big as a human being. They're like way bigger than a horse, dude. Even in that movie, they're as big as a horse, aren't they?
They're like big as like fucking minivans and shit.
Yeah, dude, it's fucking crazy.
Hard pass. Oh,
I'm not really into like dreaming about like space travel and space wars. I don't know, for some reason like that does not, I don't want that in my headspace. It would not bring me positive like vibes.
But
no way.
When you watch those movies, you're always rooting for the protagonist. So you'll be fine. You know, when you watch Star Wars, you root for the rebels.
That is true. That is true.
You know, you're on their side. They win. You're like, hey, I feel good now.
In Braveheart, I was cheering for like the Braveheart crew, like the Scottish people.
It's not like Walking Dead where they're pretty much like, hey, and in the end, there's still zombies and everybody's fucked. Good night.
Yeah, you can't kill all the zombies.
You know?
Yeah, good luck.
Dude, think about like I don't want any like spoilers or anything like that, and I wouldn't want to spoil the listeners, but like I watched like every season of The Walking Dead, but I feel like the last season, which I think was the last season.
Yeah, it was the final season ever.
Like I still haven't even watched it yet. I feel fucking let down by myself, but at the same time, like
I'm just gonna tell you this.
I don't know if like,
but you know,
no, I'll watch it, Sean, because like I committed to everything before that. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna fucking watch it.
You'll be left disappointed, boy.
I'm sure.
You already
like
know
there's no way.
It's not going to live up to what you would hope, but
They never
Dude,
do.
exactly,
never do.
they never
That's
do.
nice. The last
I was so
seasons on
disappointed by
shows
Breaking
are-
Bad, bro. The very end of Breaking Bad, I was like, yo, this
Dude,
last
it's
season.
very rare that the last season of any show is the best one because everybody's let down because they always want the show to continue because of how much they love the series. You know what I mean?
Or like they
So,
finish the story in a proper,
Yeah.
non-rushed way.
y-
Like that, I'm fine with too. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
and even then, no one's happy because it's over. You know what I mean?
Well,
That's
that
the
is
whole
true.
thing. So it's just like sometimes you gotta, it's a little give or take. You know
That's
what I mean?
it.
Usually the best season is usually either the first season's probably the best or it's the second season. You know what I mean? And then after that, they either kind of stay, at a level or they start to drop off. I find, you know what I mean? It's very rare where you get something that goes multiple seasons, like a fucking Seinfeld or something like that, that runs fucking forever and just continues to bang. You know what I mean?
Oh, dude,
It's-
forever, yeah, for sure. Like, there's one series though that like now I don't find that there's been a drop off is Stranger Things. I like really like that series, like from the first season until the last season.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's rare.
It's been
There are some out there that you do get a good season almost every season. There may be one or two episodes within a season that aren't as great, but overall, it does carry through. But dude, it's not as often anymore, especially because there's so many of them coming out now.
well,
that it's
especially
hard to find those good ones.
sitcoms. Like I find that like sitcoms,
I'm not a big
like, can be
sitcom
good.
guy anymore, though, dude. Like I feel like there's not too many. There's not good ones. Like I feel like you're getting to. There's not as many good sitcoms anymore.
There's not good ones coming out, but like the thing
all
is,
the
though,
good ones are all the ones that like came
they're all
out like
paid
before
services.
streaming.
Well, no, yeah, and like now I feel like the only good ones are paid streams.
Well, everything's paid streamers.
Because like
now.
The Ranch, I thought that was a good sitcom.
That was pretty good. Yeah, that was pretty
and
good.
it was not on TV, right? It was on Netflix. So like,
Yeah, but that was like the early ones. Now
see, I haven't like kept up with it, dude. I paid like $15 to $20 a month or some shit for Netflix, and dude, I literally pay for the whole year. So like, whenever the next Stranger Things comes out, like I know I can binge it. Which is the dumbest shit ever. I should just cancel it and then pick it up for a month or whatever. I don't know if you can do that though. But I just pay every month. I never even log in, and I'll be like, "Yo, new Stranger Things
Dude,
is
there's so
coming."
many
Like,
other things on there though, dude.
I've probably paid like $600 to watch Stranger Things at this point.
I have a Netflix and I forget about it because like it's part of the package for having my cell phone. So like we just get it covered by the cell phone provider.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah, it is dope. But I forget that I have it, and then it's like something will happen. Like James, when you were putting me onto the Ancient Apocalypse, I was like, oh, that's right. I have a fucking Netflix. Let me set that shit up. And like I watched a few episodes. I was like, all right, cool. I'll come back to this. And then totally forgot I had a Netflix again.
I watch a lot of shit though, because I'm always sitting here in front of my computer. So it's either I'm watching a bunch of shit on YouTube or I've got like fucking HBO Max, Amazon Prime, Netflix, Disney Plus. Like I pretty much have almost every streaming service. So
we have most of them too. Like most of them are programmed on our smart TV in the living room.
I only watch a lot of times. The only thing I'm watching are like the movies. There's only I watch a few series on Disney Plus, and it's mainly Star Wars shit because I'm into that stuff. But a lot of the other shit, like HBO, the only thing I really watch on that one is like Titans, which is another comic book one. You know what I mean? I'm all into the comic book shit, and all the Marvel shit's on there. Or no, all the Marvel shit's on Disney, which is also what I watch. All the DC stuff's on HBO Max.
Doesn't HBO have all the Nickelodeon content?
Yeah, they have all that stuff too. Or it might be Paramount.
That's Paramount, yeah. It's like, I know
there's way too fucking many, bro.
I had Paramount for a while, but I don't have it anymore.
Like that's why like I'm mostly just a YouTube
and then you
guy.
got Hulu and all that shit.
So easy. Like I
do mainly all my watching on YouTube, and every now and then I'll watch like a movie or something that's on a streaming platform I have. Other than that, I'm mainly on YouTube watching stupid shit.
Yeah, like I've learned so many crazy things thanks to YouTube University. Like I'm a better cook now because of YouTube. I fix different things better because of fucking YouTube. Like I fell into this one dude. He has a great just combo of two things that get my brain going: history and cooking. And it's his channel's called Cooking History. And that's literally what he does. He finds
that's like right up your alley.
Antique
Did I create
antique
this?
recipes,
That's
like
perfect.
yeah, like something from like say like the 1800s even, and he'll recreate a meal from this cookbook from like the 1800s, and then try it and see how is it? Is it as good as something you would make today? And
Yeah.
he's actually literally just put out a cookbook compiled of a whole bunch of these like old recipes that he's discovered, and good for him. I mean,
Oh,
I hope it goes
speaking
well.
of cookbook, Sean, I don't know if I told you, but I made those fucking waffles last week, bro.
You made the waffles.
Yeah, and let me tell you, dude, I fucked up the first time. Uh Luckily, dude, the bananas were perfect. You know what I mean? They're right on that perfect like line between, ripe and, overripe. They're just like that perfect, like kind of like not like mushy, but like what you
Mhm.
would use for like a banana bread, you know what I mean? So it was like perfect. Throw a little bit of some vanilla, a little bit of some brown sugar, a little cinnamon in the fucking batter, whip that shit up, slice the bananas into like little slices, fucking put the fucking batter down, and then I just threw the bananas like on top and then fucking close the thing. And dude, it smelled delicious, right? And then I go to open it and the waffle stuck to the top because all the banana stuck to the fucking waffle iron because I forgot to spray it.
Ah,
So I fucking peeled it off, got all the fucking little bits of banana off the fucking thing. And then the next time I was like, you know what? This is what I'm going to do. Light layer of batter, bananas,
more
another
batter.
layer of batter on top. Just made sure I sprayed it this time. And let me tell you, son, that with a little bit of some peanut butter on top, a little bit of some syrup. Ooh, that shit was fire.
It sounds so bomb.
Dude, they were so good, man.
Oh man. See, I'm just gassed because now that like I've fallen down this sous vide rabbit hole, I'm like cooking everything with that thing. So like last night at 11 o'clock at night before I went to bed, I put a whole eye round roast that I've had vacuum sealed with all the seasoning and everything for a couple days now, just so it could fully like really get into the meat. I've had that going. It's going for it'll be 18 hours, maybe 19 hours by the time I pull it. It is going to be edge to edge, perfect medium rare. And then all I got to do is just sear the outside. I'm about to eat the dumbest good fucking roast beef I've ever made in my life. And
Oh, dude, I'm having roast beef too. Yeah, I put it in like 3 hours ago.
Nice.
like I'm
I'm
so
fucking excited for it too.
me too. Like I'm so in love with the sous vide technique now after doing the fillets that like I'm like, what else can I do? We're gonna do chicken later this week and make a chicken Alfredo and see how this chicken turns out. Did the same thing. Like it's been sitting with all the seasonings vacuum sealed, ready to go. This way, when time comes, all we got to do is just throw it in the water for a couple hours, and we'll have perfectly cooked chicken ready for this.
Yeah,
Chicken
and like with
Alfredo.
all of these nice like flavorings and everything like that are added to it. Oof.
Well, the nice thing is like
Marinating food's pretty good, man.
because it's all in the bag, it doesn't get a chance to dry out while it cooks.
Yeah,
So,
no, exactly. So chicken is dry. I don't really love chicken, so that would solve that.
mm-hmm.
I would like, dude. Oh, Sean, you know what you gotta do for me, bro. You might have already done it. So if you have, or you will, please let me know. Um, pork tenderloin. Like I think the pork tenderloin tastes okay, but it's always so fucking dry, bro. And that's why they'll always serve it with like applesauce. You know what I'm saying? So like I wonder what it'd be like with a pork tenderloin cooked that way.
I'm doing it. That's a great idea.
Dude, because if it makes it like moist and nice,
It's
like
gonna be
that's fucking next level.
it'll be the dumbest,
It'll be
most
dumb, dude,
tender.
because it's sitting in the juices.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
it'll be the
dude.
most juicy and tender. Cause like that's the thing. Like if you think about
Juicy and fucking that just
yeah,
never sound right. Like
like
I
you
can't
think
I
about
that's what I
low and
love about it.
slow, like when you use a smoker to smoke meat, you're still cooking it around 200 degrees usually.
Yeah.
In a sous vide, like you set the water bath to roughly the internal temperature of the doneness you want your meat.
Yeah.
And then you just let it go in the bath for a few hours. So yeah, it literally is braising in its own juices inside the vacuum bag the whole time, just stewing itself, getting more and more and more tender. Plus, vacuum sealing pulls the fibers apart, which really helps everything get in there. Like,
Yeah, and then when you open the
Dude.
bag, it fucking goes like this and goes, all the like a sponge and just soaks up a little bit extra. You know what I mean? Then you slice it and it just starts pouring out all nice like.
Yeah, see, because like I don't actually like applesauce, so like whenever I eat pork tenderloin, there has to be like some like good gravy. You know what I mean? For me,
Mm. Yeah,
because like roast beef, I'll use horseradish, but like I won't use horseradish for.
Oh no, dude! You just
Oh,
gotta make a nice au jus, bro, and then dip your fucking roast beef sandwich in some au jus, bro. Get all that.
Oh, that's
fucking
good too. Like,
juiciness.
don't get me wrong. Like,
Oh,
I love also like hot roast beef sandwiches where like you'll take some leftover gravy, some leftover slices of roast beef, and then you get out some bread, and then you fucking put the bread on the plate. You take out the gravy with the fucking little pieces of meat there, or chunks, whatever. Then you put the other one on top, and then I'll even like put some like peas or some shit on top, and then pour gravy over that bitch
Lost me with
and
the
just
peas,
eat
bro.
it. Oh, you could use like carrots.
No,
what
Or
you're
you could
describing,
just
I would
put
just do that
gravy.
open face.
no, just
I like the
gravy,
I like
maybe
the
a little
closed one,
cheese if you
Sean,
want
and
to do some
then
cheese.
I just like eat it with like a fork and spoon or fork and knife. I mean, and
Fork
I'll
and
just like
spoon,
cut it
hell yeah.
off, and I'll just be like, "Oof, I got a little bit of bread, a little bit of the gravy's all in it." Oof, yeah.
I get in there with my hands, bro.
Yeah, like I would just do that open face and just like mound some mashed potato in there too. Like, oh
Yeah, I'd be down for that, like a full out leftovers kind of meal. Then yeah. What I'll do is like I'll cook a roast. So even before I would cook a roast, and like I wouldn't be able to eat it all. You know what I mean? So I would just like put it in different like amounts in like freezer bags, and then I'd like make a bunch of gravy at that time, and then I'd use that as like my gravy stock, and I'd like add some of like the bouillon shit to it and like whatever. And then I'd make myself like a nice like sandwich, like a hot roast beef sandwich. It'd be so good. So I'm gonna have those one day this week for sure. No
hell
doubt.
yeah, that sounds banging. I might have to follow suit and make myself a gravy and roast beef sandwich this week as well in honor of that idea because it sounds delicious. And since we hit the food talk, you guys know what that means. We are at the end of the show. So with all of that, guys, thank you all so much for listening. Yeah, this has been a wild ride talking about conspiracies and mysteries and aliens. Like, yo, it was a wild ride. So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and turn it on over to Uncle Chris to say goodnight.
Well, thank you everybody for tapping in, tuning in, however you want to say it. Appreciate you guys a ton. Of course, if you guys want to show your appreciation, you can go over to the shedtimepodcast.com. Just go check it out. You can find all of our stuff there, including links to stuff like our Patreon and some other sponsors that we have. So feel free to do that. Of course, you can check me out on Tuesday nights on Mixing It Up on KVTV's YouTube channel. It's at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. It's the same time that the Green Room that I do with these two fine gentlemen right here on Frames Ankle Vapors YouTube channel. 8 o'clock, the Green Room. Come check it out. And honestly, I think that I'm going to just keep it like short and sweet this week. And I'm just going to say, everybody have a good one and live your best life. James, take it away.
Absolutely. They put words. Yeah, absolutely, Chris. As always, sending out all those positive vibes, crisp high fives to you guys. Thank you for tuning in to all the Shedheads. You guys, you make this thing, that much better for tuning in, especially all the extra downloads that have been happening lately. We can't thank you guys enough for that. That helps us out, with, possibilities to create more content for you guys. So we can't thank you guys enough for your support. Like Chris said, you guys can definitely check us out on Fridays over on my YouTube channel for game nights, Shedhead sessions, build offs, all kinds of fun stuff over there, as well as maybe some reviews for vape products dropping every now and then. Other than that, we'll be hanging out here in the shed doing the things that we always do. Make sure you drop those 5-star reviews if you guys are liking what you're hearing. And other than that, I'm going to always continue to send out positive vibes, crisp high fives. Don't forget to tell someone you love them, and a little dab or bag will do you, Sean.
Oh, yes, that's right, friends. So with all of that, you guys already heard it, shedtimepodcast.com. You can find a Patreon, you can find links, you can find all of our socials there. It's a great resource. Go check us out on all of those different platforms and see what you can get yourself into. You got the Instagram, Shedtime Podcast over there. You got a YouTube channel with random little bits and content that drip out every now and then for the public. And of course, if you're a member of the Patreon, then you get the links to the private videos. That's right, where you get to watch these episodes. So if you want to get in on that, you can go ahead and jump on to Patreon and get a chance to watch these episodes like those guys do. So with all that, I'll bring it to a close like I always do and tell you, don't let the bastards get you down. Be cool, don't be a dick, and whatever it is that you do, be sure to have some fun, because this is the Shed Time Podcast, and it's time to roll on up and roll on out.
Dynavap, Dynavap, Dynavap. Looking to cut the cord on your dry herb vape? Dynavap. Trying to get the best taste from your herb? Dynavap. Ready to take your sesh to the next level? Then meet Dynavap, the best way to vape your flower or concentrate. Concentrates? That's right, your flower or hash can be vaped using Dynavap. Check out Dynavap.com to learn more. That's Dynavap.com. Lose the ash? Dynavap.
What's going on, Shedheads? It's your boy Frames Janklin. Are you looking to step up your match game or have a raw copper, brass, or stainless mod or RDA that you're absolutely tired of polishing? Then you need to go and hit up my man Ashton of Palmer's Powders. He does some absolutely amazing powder coating work. He offers many different colors and finishes at an absolutely killer price. This man is taking powder coating to a whole new level, and he can make your setup an absolute masterpiece. You can go follow him over on Instagram at Palmer's Powders, and you can go check out pricing on his website, palmerspowders.com. That's palmerspowders.com. And as always, let's just vape on, Shedheads.
I want you to think of your favorite rebuildable right now. Yeah, okay, so you have a layer cake in your hand, and now you're about... Oh, sorry, yeah, that's not everyone's favorite. That's just mine. So think of your favorite rebuildable atomizer. Think about how good of a vape it produces for you. Now, take that and amplify it. And the way that you amplify that is you put in some Breezestone coils. Breezestone coils are handcrafted in Adelaide, Australia. They're made from some of the finest quality wire that you can get. I believe it's Wire Buddha. You take those coils, you take them out of that phenomenal packaging that clearly shows how much care that Adam puts on the quality of his coils and the insurance that you get them in good shape. You put them in that favorite RDA, and guess what? You have coils that now sing better than Celine Dion. Go check out Breezestone coils. You can find them on localvape.com and also steelvalleyvapors.com. Solid.
Live long and prosper.
I always hear like the bah, 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 like no matter what in my head at the end. After Sean's done speaking, I always think like that's what I hear.
Truth is out there.
Yeah.
That's all I know.
Dude, there's so much truth.